From the CyberHub bunker and studio, you're tuning in to the CyberHub podcast. And now for your host and CISO, James Azar.
Well, everyone, good morning. Happy Wednesday. It's Hump Day, December 15th, 2021. I hope you're having a good day. I hope this week hasn't been overly stressful for a lot of you practitioners, because it has been for many people. For many people, this week has been crazy, right? Log4Shell still active. We're going to be talking about that on today's show. Also, yesterday, Patch Tuesday, and man, everything was just a major mashup of everything. I haven't seen this much attention to so many things until just now. So we'll get to that here in just a few moments. Today's show is live on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. Good morning, everyone. Please make sure to subscribe, share, and like today's show with your friends, colleagues. Good morning to Eddie from Big Dallas, Texas. Micah Smith, good morning to you. Good sir, Matt. You got your oat milk latte today. That is a very interesting choice. Looking forward to hearing more about that. Good morning to Aaron, and morning to David Brand. If you're in the ATL area, in about 4 hours, I'll be giving my keynote over at FutureCon at the Cobb Galleria at the Renaissance. Passes are still available. I think you can still get them. If you have any issues, just ping me. Hope to see you in person, shake some hands, say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, hang out. I'm also moderating a panel after my keynote with my good friends Daniel Sergile, Wes Knight, and Clint Walker from the Department of Homeland Security. We're going to be talking about just this, Log4Shell. So a lot more of that. But before we get into today's show, my beautiful, amazing, delicious, nutritious, energizing, just all great things that are great, my double espresso coffee cup. Cheers, folks. Good morning to Kartik, or evening to everyone. Yeah, wherever you're tuning in from in the world, let me know. Would love to know. I know we got Eddie from Big Dallas. Micah's local here. I think Aaron's on the West Coast, I believe, or East Coast. I forgot. Aaron, shoot me if I'm mistaken. But let's get into what's going on today with Log4Shell. So Log4Shell has expanded. Every single day, we're getting a little bit more information on what's exactly going on. And with this specific situation now, we know that nation states are in the mix. With up and going is China, Iran, North Korea, and Turkey are all now abusing Log4Shell. They're trying to gain access to targeted networks, according to a report from Microsoft. And Microsoft would know. The activity ranges from experimentation during development, integration of the vulnerability to an in-the-wild payload deployment, and exploitation against targets to achieve the actor's objectives. Known threat actors linked to Log4Shell attacks include Phosphorus and Hafnium. Hafnium was responsible for the SolarWinds and Microsoft post SolarWinds Microsoft Exchange vulnerabilities. That was all Hafnium, folks. So when those guys have their hands in the mix, you bet your sweet tail there's going to be some price to pay in the future. For example, the MSTIC observed Phosphorus, an Iranian actor, deploying ransomware, acquiring and making modifications of the Log4j exploit. So I want to give you, there's a sample nation state actor here. Very cool. This is, by the way, from the record over at Recorded Future. They do a really good job of this stuff. So let me give you a geopolitical thing that's going on right now. Okay. We are in the midst of what we call the battle of the superpowers. Iran is on the ropes. Economically, it's fragile. Internally, a bunch of stuff going on. They need money to sustain. Their biggest customer is China. And Russia by proxy, meaning Russians don't really like Iran. In fact, their interests conflict in a lot of the Middle East places. But the enemy of the enemy is my friend. And so that is the case there as well. So as we're watching what's going on here politically, just understand that everything that we're seeing right now from Log4Shell, from nation states, is all political. We know they're targeting government organizations. We know they're targeting specific contractors and specific companies that have strategic impact for specific nations in order to advance their political IDs. So keep your eyes out for this. Microsoft has a ton of information. Go check it out, because there's more to this. So the developers of the Apache Log4j Java-based logging tools have disabled problematic functionality as more security issues have come to light. So there's not just one, but there's a lot more stuff. The attacks have been launched already. The exploitation of the vulnerability, the request generates a log. And this is where we're kind of looking at this. So the original CVE was patched. Now there's another one, and there's the latest versions, which is 2.12.2 and 2.16.0. Yesterday we were talking about 2.15. All right. So the new CV identifier, which is CV 2021-45046, was assigned to the issue. And this specific issue comes from the request generating a log using the Log4j, which leverages the Java naming directory interface lookup feature to perform a request to an attacker-controlled server from which a malicious payload is fetched and executed. It's also come to light that the risk of attacks against Log4j version 1.0 is lower. Systems running this versions are still vulnerable to attacks if JNDI is used in their configuration as well. So a ton of stuff still going on, but a new version of this is there. So please make sure to check that out too, folks. This is we're there. CISA, not wasting any time, said, hey, federal agencies, you've got until Christmas Eve to patch your environments. Otherwise. So according to the timeline provided in the catalog by CISA, they've launched a dedicated webpage providing guidance to U.S. public and private sectors regarding the Log4Shell. Again, Director Easterly just doing an unbelievable job handling this. What a difference her leadership has made in terms of how CISA is viewed, how this conversation around this vulnerability is being discussed within the business, simply because she's gone on a lot of major news outlets. She's been talking about this, so she's reaching to the heads of these organizations who are listening to what she has to say and then going and talking to their CISOs. She's done an unbelievable job as well. Cisco Cloudflare said they are also seeing exploitation as far as 2 weeks back. So keep in mind for that. Kartik, thank you so much from India. Good morning from another David from Dallas, Texas. Good morning to Mr. Mualim. Eric sharing the link to It Works for the nation state kind of actors. And Chris Frazier, good morning to you, sir, on YouTube. Thank you for being here as well. So we've got a lot more there, folks. Now let's get into Patch Tuesday. So yesterday was typically what's the biggest, most glorious day of the year, Patch Tuesday, right? It's tradition. Microsoft security response engineers revved up their overdrive this month with the release of patches for 67 documented Windows software vulnerability, including the zero-day bug that's already been exploited by one of the most professional and long-lasting cybercrime gangs, which was the Emotet CVE. The final patch, CV 2021-43890, which is the spoofing vulnerability in the Windows App X installer, that was being widely exploited by the Emotet malware operation, is now patched. The company credited Sophos researcher Andrew Brent, along with its own Rick Cole and Nick Carr, for reporting the zero-day flaw. All in all, Microsoft patched 67 documented vulnerabilities through the Windows ecosystem and 16 browser flaws in the Microsoft Edge product, bringing the total number to December to 83 CVEs. So a busy one for all you Microsoft administrators across your organizations. Get this stuff patched, and don't wait till Christmas if you can. All right. SAP also patched their Log4Shell vulnerability in 20 different applications. SAP identified a total of 32 applications affected by Log4Shell, the critical vulnerability in the Apache Log4j Java, but the vulnerability itself can be exploited. SAP also announced the availability of fixes for tens of other severe vulnerabilities in its product. as part of its monthly security patch day. The company published 10 new security notes and 5 updated notes for the December 2021 security patch day. So if you are a SAP client, you got to get this stuff done to get it done immediately. All these patches are critical. Adobe also joined in the fun. Adobe issued critical warnings for security vulnerabilities in multiple products running on Windows and Mac OS. They've documented at least 60 security vulnerabilities in a wide range of prominent software products and warned that malicious actors could exploit these bugs for code execution, privilege escalation, and denial of service. There's a Photoshop vulnerability, several CVEs there, all carry critical. So make sure you go and you get it patched. Also, Adobe Prelude, Adobe After Effects, Dimensions, Premiere Pro, Media Encoder, Lightroom, and Audition all require the patch. Steve Martin, good morning to you. Good sir. Thank you for being here. All right. So that's where we kind of wrap up, but not really. Let me give you one little thing here to take into this. This is a lot of stuff to take in December, when some people have vacation scheduled for next week because it's holidays. So, 1, don't just start randomly patching and updating without, 1, identifying what's the risk if I don't, what's the risk if I do. What does it take to patch? How long would it take it? And does it impact company operations? Because so many organizations are going offline on the 23rd, do not wait to patch then. A lot of people I was speaking to yesterday were kind of saying, yeah, we don't want to interrupt now because it's the end of the year and so forth. No, you have to do it now, especially when it comes to the Log4Shell and Log4j vulnerability. That's not even up for debate. But everything else, if you can, if it's not a huge impact, if it only impacts a small chunk of your organization and your people are overworked trying to look at the Log4Shell, then give them a break, push automatic updates. Everything will be fine, okay? We're going to be fine on the tail end of this, all right? But keep in mind, this is like SolarWinds. We're really not going to know the full impact of what's going on until January, February, maybe even March, all right? Microsoft, we didn't see all the stuff that went on there until March. That was almost 3 months to the day from when FireEye disclosed the SolarWinds breach. And mind you, these actors are sophisticated. The Chinese and the Russians, they're going to be looking at how could they take advantage of this to gain persistence in environments, not just ransomware. Iran, North Korea, they're looking for money. They're trying to finance their economies. That's one aspect. That's why they're going for ransomware. China and Iran are more sophisticated actors. They're going to be going after R&D, specific data, operations, strategy, and so much more. So keep that in mind. Folks, that's it for us here. I'll be heading to FutureCon in just a little bit, so I hope to see you there if you are local. I'll be giving a keynote there on the modern CISO, and then later in the afternoon, I'll be moderating a panel with my good friends Daniel Sergile, West Knight, Clint Walker, and Derek, talking about the Log4Shell vulnerability, and really not just rehashing stuff, but talking practical. So I hope you'll tune in and be there if you can. If not, it is live stream. You can go check it out on the FutureCon website. Till then, have a great rest of your day. We'll be here tomorrow to wrap up this week and a lot more. Till then, great rest of your day and stay cyber safe.
We love feedback, so make sure to connect with us on social media and subscribe to our podcast on your favorite podcast listening platform.